Oh my gosh, you're here!
Welcome to My Chatbot Life, where chatbot marketers share high-converting strategies in this new conversational marketplace. Each week, MKJ introduces you to bot builders who are just like you, a little techie, a little markety, and a whole lot of geeky. Buckle up as Chatbot Mom enjoys another journey into My Chatbot Life.
Hey, bot buddies, my chatbot lifers. You know who I am, right? MKJ, Messenger Funnels, Bot Academy. And I get to chat with someone who's pretty much in one of my favorite places in the world. He's in Great Britain, and we're just going to have a chat. We're going to have a blast. I know it. Just listening to his accent is good enough for me. So welcome to the conversation, Charlton Santana. He is the founder of Phoebe. Hey there, Charlton. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Like I said before.
You'll get sick of my accent by the end of this.
No, I'm not. No. Are you going to get sick of mine?
No. I think it's just I get sick of my own voice. So
isn't that amazing? I mean, it just tickles me that people think I have an accent. Right. And the reason they think that is just because it's different from their own. I mean, I used to take out horseback rides, right? I was a wrangler on a ranch out at the coast. And I had this gal on a ride that was from the Midwest and very strong Midwestern accent, Midwestern United States. I know what it is. You may not, but it's much more of New England, Midwest. Actually, those are very two different, but I believe she was from the Midwest. And she just was laughing. And I said, what's going on? She's like, your accent is so funny. I'm like, I'm from California. We don't have accents, right? But it doesn't matter. It's totally different and it's so much fun. And I got to tell you, you're in one of my favorite parts of the world. So we're going to get along great. So first off, though, tell us a little bit about before you got into Phoebe and what you're doing now. What were you doing for a job before?
Yeah, so I was, I guess you could say I was a software developer. So I'm actually a technical founder of this company. I'm not a sort of an out there sort of salesperson. I'm actually more of a stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning, coding away, making something. So yeah, I was a software developer. We basically made I specialize in sort of back-end code, so APIs for mobile apps. So yeah, we did some amazing stuff before I eventually left. We did some great things for various different huge companies, and that was like an amazing experiences doing that. So yeah, so like just before that, I was just coding away.
Oh my goodness. I love building things. I love seeing things, but I am absolutely not a coder. I'm absolutely not a techie. I actually used to help people. One of my previous lives was a technical recruiter. So that's the depth to which I understand, any kind of software development, data analysis, data engineering, any of that is just from the job description and being able to interview people who supposedly know how to do those things.
I guess that's why we're all here, right? Because we love building things, and we love, I think actually the end goal is I love building things that people use.
That solve problems, right? Yeah. So then tell us about the transition into Phoebe. Tell me how that happened and what all of a sudden either gave you the idea, had you decide to jump on board with someone else who had the idea. How did that go? Yeah.
So it's a little bit long-winded. So basically, I always wanted to build my own company, and I always had that sort of business spirit in me. So I eventually, I was doing like self-employment work while doing a full-time job. So I was just doing like a few hours on a Sunday, that sort of thing. And I eventually started building an app with a friend of mine, and it was a nightclub app. So it basically what you could do if you were a student, you could go onto the app and you'd see a list of nightclubs and all the events going on, but you'd also see a list of your friends that were also going to that place. So a bit like on Facebook when you have events and you have like your friends going to the event. This was just like, I'm going to Halo nightclub. It doesn't have to have an event on for me to say I'm going there. I'm just going there tonight, and then if any of my friends see it, then I'm on it as well. So yeah, so we sort of started that, and then I left the company I was at to sort of pursue a bit of that app. It was never really like an end goal thing. It was just something that I thought was cool and could help people. So yes, it started on that, and just doing self-employment stuff when I left. And I got speaking to one of the nightclubs, and I was sort of just speaking about like communications, and eventually got onto chatbots. And that's sort of where the idea came for doing Phoebe. Eventually, it was because at first it was, okay, we're just going to build a chatbot for this nightclub. And when I say build a chatbot, I don't mean go onto Manychat and configure some flows. I mean like a bit like what Phoebe is. Yeah, like
technically build it.
Technically build it, an AI chatbot. So this was, I mean, this was 2016, so Manychat was relatively new.
Yeah.
So this was like build AI for this nightclub. And then what sort of born out of that was Santana Studios, which was my sort of initial company, is still going now. And the idea was that we were specialists in chatbots. So we didn't like having a chatbot agency back in 2016 was sort of, it might have been 2017 actually. Let me just rephrase on that. But it was like there was nothing like it in the area. It was we just focused on automating customer service. So yeah, so we were looking at doing that. Obviously, they were going to pay to have this chatbot, and then we got approached by a restaurant to do a similar thing, and we sort of just, this is the same stuff. So let's build it into a SaaS product and sell it for $49.
And so tell me how Phoebe is, first off, start with that. Tell me how Phoebe is different from Manychat.
So yeah, so Manychat, you would go on there and you would build, let's say specifically for restaurants, right? So you would go on there, you would build some flows. Say you would build a table reservation chatbot, for example, or you might build a loyalty bot or a menu bot. It's very, you send a message to the bot, and it's like guides you down the path that the marketer wanted you to do.
Yeah.
The difference with Phoebe is that it's not trying to, I guess it's not trying to initially put you down a specific path. It's completely open. So a bit like if you were to speak to Google or Alexa or Siri, you just ask whatever question you want, and then it will figure out how to answer you. And that's the same sort of spirit with Phoebe, is where let's figure out every single question that you could ask a restaurant. Let's continually train the AI on the restaurants, and then just let them ask what they want. Because in reality, from our data, only 35% of people want to book a table straight away. Otherwise they'll just maybe just call you. Yeah. They're messaging you because they want to find out if they can bring their dog, or whether you have an outdoor garden. So the idea is that let's cater for those messages. It's more, let's solve the problem of you send a message to a restaurant and they don't respond to you for 5 hours.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it sounds like, what you're talking about though, is you've already done all of that AI training ahead of time. So if let's say I'm an agency owner and I come in and go, okay, I've got restaurants that want me to help them communicate in much more of a conversational way with their diners, with their prospects. And I've got an option to build a flow specifically leading people down a path with many different options based on the buttons they click, and possibly some keywords. Or I can go to Phoebe and basically build or at least access a solution that has already been trained in AI for restaurants. Is that correct?
So yeah, absolutely. So when we first, there's a big sort of mindset shift here within the company. When we first created Phoebe, our customers are like the people we speak to every day would be restaurants. So we made the system we didn't make it for bot builders initially. We made it so that let's ask you the questions that you know. You know that you let dogs, you know that you have disabled access, you know what your menus are, you know how people can book. So let's just ask you these questions. You fill out a very simple form, you click publish, and you have an AI on all of your platforms running for you. So it's a 5-minute process sign up, as opposed to going to Manychat and firstly figuring out what people are going to ask you in the first place.
Yeah.
Then do a couple of keywords and then deploy it, and then we need to answer this message. We need to figure out how to answer this message.
Yes.
Or two keywords are colliding with two different things. It's like, which one should we do it for?
Yeah.
So with Phoebe, we are constantly retraining the AI on all the restaurants and all the data that we have coming in. So AI that's essentially trained in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, all in one bot. So you essentially, if you're one restaurant, you have the power of a restaurant AI that's been trained on hundreds of thousands of messages.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned, though, that you had a mindset shift. So are you talking about that shift from the fact of you being, let's say, an agency in the beginning, and so that mindset was not that you were going to serve agencies, that you were going to actually serve the actual end user or the end customer, the restaurant or the retail shop, or
So I guess our target was, let's go and market this product directly to restaurants.
Yeah.
Which is still something. It was sort of like a let's go to agencies after, because they'll want to help their clients with Phoebe.
Yeah.
Right. But I guess the mindset shift was, no, let's sort of do agencies first, or as solely.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a big change in how we work and who our customers.
So your customers are more agencies, and that's smart, because obviously the agencies have access to the direct customer, and you don't have to go out and find all those customers. They're already working with agencies.
I guess so. Our aim is to, like, our core values at the end of the day is, let's help restaurants solve this problem. How we get it into those restaurants is a bit different.
Yeah, got it. I get it. So you talked about a mindset shift, and I really believe that success is 99% mindset. So, and being able to adapt to the changes that happen. I was talking to a person who's just now thinking of starting a business, her first business. And she says, what are the first 3 things I have to do? So we talked about her product and all of that. I said, but all that aside, it doesn't really matter. If you don't develop the skill set of handling chaos and change on a regular basis without absolutely becoming a pile of goo on the floor, you will not be successful.
Yeah, I guess we're sort of like firefighters at the end of the day. We just, anything that comes at us, we have to be able to solve it quickly and efficiently.
So what's the biggest mindset shift you have had to make, in whether it was your job before as a software developer, or now as the creator and founder of Phoebe? What's the biggest mindset shift you have had to make towards success, and how did you do it?
I would say the biggest mindset shift is solve problems instead of selling features. So don't come up with a great feature and just think, oh, this is cool, this is really cool, like, this is awesome. And that's very easy to do with chatbots, because chatbots is just this cool thing, you can answer. But in reality, people buy solutions to problems. And if you solve a big problem, then you're going to make a lot of money. Yes. Okay. So going back to the same conversation with this gal yesterday that was just going to start a business. First thing she said, I said, what are you doing? And she told me what she was doing. And so she says, but I really need to make sure that I'm, I'm able to handle the basics. I keep a lid on it. I keep it manageable. And I'm like, all right, let's blow that word manageable up, because there's no such thing. And if you say I need to keep it manageable, then you will never grow beyond what you think you can manage, right? Absolutely.
So
it's all about like, you got to take the opportunity before you know how you can do it.
Yes. And so that's it. And if you look at an MVP, let's say, minimum viable product, and you go, okay, here's the problem we solve, here's how we think we can solve it. Now let's go out and find some people who agree and sell it to them, see if they want it, see if it fits, see if it actually solves their problem. And then we just keep going and iterating and solve this problem for everybody.
Absolutely.
But if you built it all and made it beautiful and all of that, this would be 3 years later and AI would have gone beyond.
Yeah, too many people get stuck in that loop of, it has to be perfect, otherwise like they're not going to use this product. And I find that a lot with working with designers. So previously when I worked in a software job, if the color was wrong or the font was wrong, it's inherently broken. And it's like we're just trying to build something to prove that this can solve a problem. Once we've done that, then we can move to more customers. And the world's a big place. So if you build an MVP and people don't like it, build another one.
You're done. Yeah, you're done with that one. Go on to the next one. You haven't invested huge amounts of money and time. Yeah. And I've got to be honest with you. I've found that even more because I work with a lot with techies, right? Most techies come and instead of building, because it's so much easier to use tools like yours, instead of having to go build a full chatbot on their own, there's many tools that make it easier and automate the process, even for the automators, right? And so many of the technical people are still stuck in that, oh, but I can't talk to anybody about this until I know every single part of it and I understand how every single part works and I can field any question they might throw at me.
Yeah,
like technical question.
You got to move fast and you got to break through.
I know. And no client. How many restaurant owners have asked you about how the back end of Phoebe works?
None.
They don't care. They don't care how it works as long as it solves their problem. So please, any of the bot buddies out there listening to me, if that's you and you're like, oh, but I have to be able to know all the details of it, how everything works before I can start talking to people, because they might ask, just because they might ask me that question, I'm going to blow that up for you right now and say, stop it and go out there and start talking to people. You know enough. Don't worry. As long as you know the problem you solve and the details of how their solution is going to be, not how it is created, but the solution and the results that they're going to get. As long as you know that, you're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I think another thing as well is people, I think they overestimate how many people at the beginning are going to use their product. So they sort of try and build it to sort of scale it. And really you need it to, if it doesn't break with the first 100 customers, then you've done something wrong. You spent too long.
Right. That's right. Because I agree. You've built it way too specific and way too detailed and waited way too long. Yes, I agree 100%. So we've talked about mindset shift. Let's think about business success. What's the biggest business hurdle you have had to overcome so far, and how did you do it?
I guess for me, it was learning so many other skills that I never expected that I thought I'd be able to have to even think about learning. I sort of always said to myself, which was bad, like silly to do, but I was always like, I'm not a salesman. Like I used to live with that, like, I'm not a salesman, someone else is going to sell it. I'm just going to figure out how to build. But in reality, you need to be able to sell your product. You need to learn to be able to just do anything, edit images, write copy. I guess that was the main thing. And I think, so when I first started Phoebe, I did the biggest mistake that anyone can make. And that was hire someone with the same skills as me. So I hired a developer. No idea why. I guess I was so focused on, we need to build this product and we'll figure out how to sell it later. But I should have just developed it myself, maybe take a little bit longer because it's just one developer, and get someone else to start selling it.
Yeah. Marketing. Marketing and sales. Yeah. That's a really wise statement. And that's a lesson that you now can use to catapult, right? Mm-hmm. Because so many people, because we're so comfortable in our little world, and comfortable talking to other people in that same world, it's very uncomfortable to talk to and try and relate to a marketing and salesperson when you're a tech person, right?
So I guess I had a similar sort of thing. we didn't even know the first thing about trying to even hire a marketing person or a salesperson.
Yeah.
So hiring a developer was just really easy.
Easy.
It's something we've got to do right now. So let's get someone on. And then we spent both of us just developing, and no one was figuring out how to sell it. So
Oh my goodness, yes. Fantastic. Good for you. Because that right there will at least, and so how did you do that? How did you figure out how to hire a marketing and salesperson? What did you do to learn how to hire that type of person?
I think I think it's research, and just doing it myself initially helped.
You mean marketing and selling first? Help?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely sort of helped, and I think just have conversations with people that could potentially be in the right mindset to sort of come on board. I think it's very hard to hire as a new company. Especially when it's just one of you, right, or two of you.
Yeah.
It's hard to convince someone to sort of come on and be part of that, because they want maybe stability or things. Right. But I guess the more conversations you have with different people, you find that there are more people that are willing to take that risk.
Yeah, and hire for the ability to adapt, the passion, the ability to sign on to the vision and mission. Hire for that with obviously some skills in marketing and sales, but the skills are less important at this stage anyway than the ability to see the vision, fit with the team, and adapt and grow accordingly.
Yeah. I think
you agree.
I think hiring is the one biggest. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think hiring is the hardest thing that you have to do as a startup.
Yeah.
Learning how to manage people. I wasn't a manager before I started this. I always thought I could be one, but actually managing people is definitely harder than it seems. So
yes, it is. And that's, again, as a technical recruiter, I know how to hire people. I know how to ask questions. I know how to uncover lots of the things that might be pitfalls in the job, but that still doesn't account for the ability to adapt, the ability to really see the vision and sign on to it. And that's absolutely a delicate balance between an employee and an entrepreneur, right? An employee mindset versus an entrepreneurial mindset. And you can find employees with entrepreneurial mindsets. It's that we could have a whole show on that, probably several, because there are lots of details. Yeah, right. Wow. Okay. And so how are you doing now? How's the team growing and clients and, results? I mean, I'm sure people are very happy with this, because especially training the AI beforehand and having a short onboarding process that doesn't sound like it has a lot of difficulty to it. If the AI has already been trained, how's that going?
Yeah, so it's going great. So we officially launched in July. So we actually sort of started this company just before the pandemic started. Luckily I was doing other agency projects to sort of keep us afloat and sort of get through that. So so we launched 2 months ago. That's been great. In terms of the team, we've got some great people that are part of this. We have one lady who can speak 14 languages and knows how to code. So that's especially useful for doing AI, because you have to
unicorn. Can anybody say unicorn?
Yeah.
a typical person you would hire that is like absolutely beyond belief is a unicorn.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. It was just a random sort of, like, we met randomly. We weren't looking for. We were sort of active. We were thinking about finding a translator at the time, but there was a sort of the problem of when you train AI, you have to. It's not just here's a list of sentences and then just translate them and then we'll put them in. Right. You have to understand. You have to come up with, say, 50 different ways to say "Can I have a table" in a different language.
Same thing, yeah.
And you would do that work, and then you would then put it onto we're doing a Spanish translation at the moment. So you put it onto a Spanish restaurant, and then you find out that there's tons of things that we miss. So we need the translator to then do that as well. So it's a bit more involved than just a list of things. So someone that had experience in training AI before and can speak that many languages is just amazing.
That's crazy. That's wonderful. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I can't wait to dive in. I know we've had a conversation before, and it was so intriguing, and I definitely can't wait to dive in and see how it works and see if I can use it for some of my clients, or possibly bring it into Bot Academy so that I can help my students be able to use this in their agencies, because Bot Academy is not tech specific. We don't specifically adhere to only one tech stack and use only one piece of software. We are looking at, and this is my next question for you, we're looking at helping people go from technician in their business as an agency to a CEO. And so let me ask you that. You were a software developer. You were in the tech. You talked about in the beginning of starting Phoebe, you were the developer and you hired a developer. And so you really focused on the development, but you've also made a comment that you didn't realize how many other things you had to learn as a director, as a founder of this company, and basically deciding on the direction of the company. So what was the biggest change that you had to make for yourself to go from that technician who all you had to do was code, and that's where you were comfortable, to now being the CEO who has to fly higher and look at all the overview and the strategy and everything that the company has to do, not just the tech?
Yeah, so I think it was, I guess, a little bit easier for me so I'm a complete self-taught programmer. So I never sort of went to uni. I started coding when I was 14 from YouTube videos, which is like one of the best things that's ever happened in my life. Yes. So I think for learning is the first thing is get out of your head that you'll get someone else to do it. So I used to be like, I believe in the specialities of a designer. So if we're going to build a website, we have to get a designer to build the website. I can't just try and figure out the better way to do things. If I want to write some copy, I have to get a copywriter. And when you sort of realize that you don't need to do that, especially when you're building an MVP, it doesn't need to be perfect. That was sort of like the shift where I was like, okay, I need to actually start just putting in the time and figure this stuff out. And it's fun. I love, like, it's fun to learn new things. And they'll forever be useful, these skills.
That's right. And I'm telling you that is your ability to at least get into the surface of these other disciplines will serve you when you have to hire someone, because it will eventually happen where you will get to a point where, no, you do need a copywriter, because the director of the company needs to really focus on the vision, or in, getting funding, or, doing other things that are actually more strategic business wise for the business. I work with an incubator, a startup incubator in my area, and I'm a mentor for this fund and for this incubator. And that's one of the things we do with founders is we bring them in and take them through all of these processes. So I teach them about conversational marketing strategy and how to understand who their customers are and speak their customers' language, not just code or do the healthcare or whatever their own discipline is. So, but I'm not going to make them a bot builder, right? Or a conversational marketer. They need to understand it enough to be able to strategically look at how they can use that discipline, that skill, in the growth of their business and the service of their customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic. So now I know that eventually and very soon, it sounds like you will rise above actually doing your own copy and have someone else do it.
It's sort of, I guess it's already started, which is great, because I'm sort of coming to the point where I don't like coding or doing like the individual tasks. I want to sort of, I feel that when for example, when it was just me and I was like, I would get my head into, say, developing, I would lose the ability to think deeply about other things. I was so focused on one thing. So when you do get other people doing the day-to-day tasks, it does help in the terms of the look to the future and how to plan things better. And I guess it's make money work for you instead of working for the money.
Isn't that fun?
It's amazing. I love it.
And it's so amazing. This is why we talk about mindset, because once you see that, once you make that shift, you can't go back. Right? I mean, it's
I
hard.
could never work for someone else again. And it's that sort of thing that before I ever like officially sort of started working for myself, I thought I could just do it for a few years, and then if I don't like it, I could come back. But no, I don't think anyone ever leaves and wants to go and work for themselves.
Yeah, no, I had someone offer me a job one time, and this was maybe 3 years ago. He's like, come work for us. And I'm like, I don't think you'd like me very much.
No,
I'm
it
really,
gets to a point. Yeah.
I'm not a good employee. Sorry.
And it's sort of like, I honestly, it sounds silly, but I don't think there's any amount of money that would make me want to work for someone else. It's like, it's just.
I also got offered it. Yeah, go. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, so you go ahead.
No. So when you say there's not any amount of money, you would consider that. What if someone came and said, here's $1 million, you have to come and be my employee?
I mean, if they give me $1 million a year, maybe.
I'd probably make it, I got to be honest with you, I'd probably make it $1 million a month.
$1 million a month.
If you give me $1 million a month, I'll be your employee for a year. I'll commit to a year of my life for $1 million a month.
Well, we'll have to discuss that with the
But no, I did. I had one of my clients actually right at the beginning of COVID. And this was a client who actually was working on European football. And so we were building a solution for him for, contests and betting on European football. And of course, then COVID hit. All the matches shut down. So then we switched to esports. And so then we were doing some esports, and that kind of got wonky. And so through that process, he just got on a call and he's like, all right, I just want you to come and be my chief operating officer, be my right-hand person, be my operations person. And I went, thank you, but no, thank you. And he said, any amount of money, you name the price. I'm like,
it's a weird relationship with money when it sort of comes to that, but it's so like when you have those big dreams of what you want to do, nothing would stop that.
I can't do it. I could not even, it was not even an option. It never even crossed my mind. Yeah, there was an inkling of unlimited money excitement. But I'm not put on this earth to make unlimited money. And I'm not going to think about what I can do with it. No, my time, I'm telling you, I'm looking at less time in front of me than was behind me. So that's way more important to me. The time I spend and how I spend it. And that was not, I don't care how much money, that was not a time.
Yeah, I think
way I want to spend my time.
I think people focus too much on the destination instead of the journey. And focusing on the destination is, obviously my aim would be to sell Phoebe in 5 to 10 years for tens of millions of pounds. Yeah. But if someone just gave me tens of millions of pounds, I haven't done the journey. Yeah. I don't want tens of millions of pounds. I want to build a company. I want to employ people. I want to solve problems, and then I'll have the tens of millions of pounds.
That's it. And that's, that good for you. Good for you. When did you come to that conclusion? Because that's not a software developer conclusion. That's not a software developer's goals. That's a founder's goal. When did you decide that?
It's definitely something more recently. I think it was more during COVID that I sort of came to that. I think we sort of, because we have we have Santana Studios still running that does sort of software projects. So there's the ongoing battle between like doing software projects or focusing time on Phoebe. And it gets to a point where no matter how much the client is paying for this software, I'm just not interested in it. I sort of realized that sooner, and it's because it would take up too much of your time, and then I'd rather just do something that I could enjoy doing.
That's it. Bot buddies, I hope you heard that, and I hope you see, because another thing that many of our students struggle with is that decision and that choice to commit to not just their agency, but to commit to a particular niche, right? So I strongly believe that being an agency who serves anyone and everyone who comes with money to hire me is 100 times less successful than an agency owner who says, I love working with restaurant owners. I love solving restaurant problems. And I love seeing the results I can bring to these local businesses.
Yeah.
That person who commits to that is 100 times more successful than the one who just in general, because this, based on the AI that you had to train it for specific niches so that it spoke that language and it understood what that person needed.
Yeah.
When you commit to that and you don't just take a job for the money, you are 100 times more successful. It's scary, right?
Yeah, I think if people worked as hard for their dreams as they did for a paycheck, they'd live a completely different life. If you spent every single day 9 to 5 working on your dreams, you'd be winning.
Get that again, bot buddies. If you worked twice as hard toward your dreams than you did just toward a paycheck, you would change your life. I think we got a soundbite right there that you can just take as a quote, and I'm just going to start blasting that all over social media because I agree 100%. Okay. Charlton, I really, really appreciate you spending this time with us. Where can people find out more about you and understand more about Phoebe and just, get to know you?
Yeah, so if you want to find more about Phoebe, getphoebe.com. That's Phoebe spelled Feebi. If you join our community, we're always active in there. I'm always active in there doing live videos here and there. So joining the Facebook community is probably the best place.
Fantastic. All right. So our last question that we always ask, many, many, many years in the future, someone is going to write Charlton's biography. What would the title of that book be?
I think the title for mine would be There's Only One Charlton Santana. Because there is. There's no other Charlton Santana. No. And I think I am a bit unique in general. And I think, I don't know, I guess that's it.
You are. So there's only one. And who would write that book?
I think the best person to write that would be my mum.
I love that.
I think she knows more about my life than I do sometimes. Maybe my memory's just bad, but
we tend to be, my son says the same thing. My oldest son says the same thing. We parents tend to be the keepers of memory, for childhood at least. But that's a beautiful thing. And what would the quote your mom would use to say, this is how Charlton lived his life? This is the quote that represents how he lived his life. Remember, this is in the future, not how you're living your life now, but through your entire life, this is the quote that you lived your life by.
Oh, that's a difficult one. I think I guess it would be like, he who never rests, or something like that, or just someone that just keeps going. And I struggle to get to sleep because I'm in my head, I'm like, what's going to happen for me? What, so I think that would be it.
Absolutely. Too many things going on, right? Too many ideas, too many things to do, too many lives to change, to sleep. Sleep is like, what? Why would I do that?
I'm unfortunately not one of the people that can just put my head on a pillow and fall asleep. But in the morning, I can easily fall back asleep. That's very easy.
That's it. So turning off your brain is probably a skill you want to develop sometime soon.
Yeah, I might have to speak to a psychiatrist or something.
Meditation, my friend. Meditation, focus, internal focus, relaxation, all that. I get it. Believe me, I get it. That's exactly. Mine is falling asleep and then waking up in the middle of the night with ideas, with things that come to my head, and then being able to get back to sleep.
Yeah.
So I get it. And that's a constant struggle, but you got this. You've got to, because if you don't, you will end up insane, because sleep is a very important thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regeneration, very important thing.
I think sleep and what you eat that's the most important thing.
Top two things. Yep. Top two things. Fantastic. Charlton, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation. I can't wait to come visit you. I was going to say in fall, I was supposed to go and take a trip to Europe this fall, but again, borders still aren't open and the restrictions are still in place. So probably won't be until spring, but when I come your way, I definitely will take a southern journey out of London and say hello.
Sounds great.
Thanks for listening to the My Chatbot Life podcast. To watch this video chat, visit mychatbotlife.com and get all the rocket boosters you need for your own chatbot success.